OK, let's talk about ID cards, because we've been hearing from senior members of the government in the last few days saying that they are supporting the idea of introducing them. Let's have a listen to the Prime Minister and the Home Secretary.
I'm determined to stop people making that crossing across the channel and to get people out of our hotels. And therefore I am looking at ID cards or digital ID, because we do need to look at the pull factors.
We have got to deal not just with disrupting the trade in people that is bringing people across the channel, but we've also got to deal with some of the reasons why they're getting in the boat in the first place, looking to come to the UK. And to our mind, digital ID has a role to play here.
So, Lucy, are you in favour of this idea?
Absolutely not. I think it's a slippery slope, obviously, and I think, you know, to coat it in the narrative that it's supposed to, help with immigration and help with illegal immigration is just farcical. I think it's something that is being wrapped around as a narrative to try and get people who originally didn't like it to accept it.
It's quite ironic. I remember mainly talking about this 2 or 3 years ago about how, well, you can see the government doing this at some point, whether it's to do with net zero, whether it's to do with immigration. And many of us were accused of being conspiracy theorists for suggesting this. And here we are, where this is now on the table.
Keir Starmer's government is considering introducing digital ID, yes, digital ID, for every person in the United Kingdom because of, wait for it, illegal immigrants. Yes, the vanguard that they're going to use to bring in digital ID so that everything you ever do can all be centralised into one place owned by the government is the fact that people are getting on boats and coming across the channel. Now, there's always the option of stopping the boats or turning them back like we did here in Australia, but Sir Keir Starmer says, no, we're going to look into this digital ID because apparently there are too many of these illegal migrants going for jobs and it's impossible to tell whether they are illegal migrants or not. So you must have a digital ID which, according to the Times of London, would allow you to prove eligibility to work. It would allow you to pay bills. It would allow you to vote online. It would allow you to sign contracts, allow you to shop. I mean, are we talking about you're going to need a digital ID to go into a shop now and to access health information? This is a one-stop shop for the government to have total oversight and total control of everything you do in your life, and they're going to try and get it passed by saying, well, we need it to combat illegal migrants.
Surely that is just an excuse.
He speaks on it domestically, he speaks on it globally. His reasoning, pretty honest in fact, is that, yeah, it does mean you surrender a little bit of privacy, but we're a global world and there's no other way than going forward, and if you want to go forward, we have to work with new technology. That seems to be the thinking here, and that's pretty much the line that most other countries that support this will give. We're not quite hearing that from the Prime Minister, though.
If the deal's no good, I'm blaming you, Scott. It's a great honor. This agreement will also help America and our British allies dominate the future of artificial intelligence. You need the energy. You have to have the energy. That's one thing I learned very quickly. They need a lot of electricity. Yeah. In the United States, you need double what we have right now just to maintain that fight. We're right now, and I want to say, leading China and the world by a lot in AI, a lot. But we're committed to ensuring that you have secure and reliable sources of American AI and quantum technology. We intend to always be the UK's strongest, closest, and most trusted business partner. Very important to us. The relationship is very important. Again, I want to thank the Prime Minister. He worked very hard on this and getting this deal done. This is long in the making. They've been talking about it for a long time, and we got it done. And it's a real honor to be with you, and thank you very much. Thank you.
I think it's just a way for policymakers to consolidate data on the general population and consolidate and centralise data to make it easier for them to create new policy. And I think ultimately it undermines our civil rights. And I think everybody who's watching Politics Live right now, I think they should really consider the detrimental impacts that ID cards could have on their freedom.
then that is a potentially big and useful thing, ostensibly to tackle crime, but it begs the question about our civil liberties, and I think that is a very, very big question.
Yeah, and it's also a valid question as well. And we know in terms of it's okay. All right, we might have a bit of an iffy government at the moment. I don't think they're intent on. Well, I was about to say putting us in prison for hurty words. Maybe they are intent on that, but I don't think I don't think their intention is a nefarious one. I think it's a rather simplistic sort of maybe slightly left-wing one, although I'm pretty sure the Tories would be having the same debate on this at the moment. But of course, when you're legislating, you're thinking about policies that come in this respect, Charles. It's what a future government might do with it, and that, I suppose, is a reasonable reasonable tentacle for debate.
Yes, clearly. I mean, we don't want to be in a situation. I mean, if you look at the way in which the Chinese operate with surveillance of virtually the entire population in one way or another, virtually to the point, as you joked earlier, about walking out of a room and having a chip in your hand, it's not far from that in China, I think. And so therefore, it is a slippery slope, and you can only make a decision like this with a big consensus, and it wasn't in the manifesto. So is it a knee-jerk reaction to a fact that they've lost the initiative on migration?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's exactly that. Charles, great to have you on with us, sir. Thank you. Charles Hymas is the Home Affairs editor over there at the Telegraph. Thank you to him. James Melville, social and political commentator, friend of the show as well. James, good afternoon to you. Look, I know, like me, we're big fans of Keir Starmer. He's a top bloke. He's got it all. Is he there? Has he got it all sorted out? He knows what he's doing. I don't think he's with us. Is he with us? Oh, okay. James, are you with us? Hi.
I'm here.
Hello. Sorry, you weren't. Nobody put you up on the screen, so I couldn't see you. I was assuming you lagged off somewhere. Big supporter of Starmer, of course. I know you are, and you love all of his work and his greatest hits. And this is just another one. I'm sure you're going to tell me it's splendid stuff. Bring it on.
Yeah, it's another example of government overreach. I think there's a number of problems here. First of all, how is this going to solve the problem? It seems to me, again, it's a bit of deflection from Starmer and the government to say, okay, we've got a problem, there's the reaction, and this is our solution under the auspice of safety and convenience. The words and mantras of most authoritarian governments in history. We've seen this playbook before. We've talked about this even in COVID. There has actually been a form of digital ID, universal digital ID before, when we moved towards vaccine passports. So we have gone through this drill before, but there's other aspects that are a problem with this. And I think a conversation that needs to be had when we're talking about digital ID is about what exactly is the social contract between government and also the public. They're supposed to be working for us. We pay their wages. And this sort of thing, it seems to me, another example of government overreach, whereby they're deciding measures that weren't in their manifesto that have profound implications in the future in terms of not just our privacy, civil liberties, but also where does the data, in whatever form it goes, where does it end up? Do we end up with data harvesting? Do we have privacy of information? And ultimately, what is the objective in terms of the thing that they're saying they're going to try and fix? Illegal migration. And it does pose questions about how far you take this, bearing in mind we have gone through this before with vaccine passports.
There seems to be a constant push to try and get this through the door, and I'm just wondering why there is this constant push, because we've seen that this sort of collection of data and the centralization of data, I think, is a defense folly. I think having all of our eggs in one basket, having all of our medical data, all of our financial data, this opens up a world of discrimination for the ordinary person. And the mandatory section, I think this is something that won't be mandatory. It will be increasingly enforced, like COVID passports that was tried to get through the last government, and I think that's what will happen here. I'm worried about it.
And ultimately, what will the government do with this? Will it just be focused on one issue? I doubt that very much. It could then mission creep into other aspects of the loss of privacy and possibly other things bolted onto it. Where does it actually stop? And as you pointed out, what happens with future governments? Will this be ditched? Will other things be carrying on in terms of digital ID? And it is a bit of a concern, I think, that 80% of people would welcome a form of universal digital ID.
I think the first debate I did about this was, I'm tempted to say maybe 20 odd years ago, maybe 25 years ago, the first time it was in that ballpark, because this discussion has been around forever, that you would have a sort of global database.
The evil one releases really his final diabolical creation upon the earth, which we would refer to as a one world government that also would include under the umbrella a one world economy, a one world religion. A concept that maybe 20, 30, or even 50 years ago would have seemed out of reach and not realistic to think about, and yet we are living in the very times where the framework for that is being shaped and formed in ways that are even shocking to me.